New Orleans win 8 in a row and get in the playoffs, would would you guys give a vote to Zion to be Rookie of the Year?
It depends what happens with Memphis, I
Yeah,
think.
I mean, obviously that displacement Memphis. I would have thought. I mean, the yeah, it will be Memphis. They'd take out the playoffs.
Yeah,
Yeah, so even though they go over Memphis, I think it for the for the narrative, which tends to be what matters with awards, perhaps more than it should. I think if Memphis went like 1-7, and Moran either got injured or just played really badly, I could maybe see that swinging. Um, but at the same time, I think the maximum game Zion can play is like 27 regular season games, and if Morant's healthy, he's going to play something like 60 odd. I'm just not sure Zion's enough better than him
yeah. It's
for it to give him the award when he's played like less than half of
the
the
lack
games
of
that he's
games
played.
is a thing, but I'm like before anyway. I was sort of leaning that way of like he's. I don't think he's as far off as some people say for to win Rookie of the Year. Well, or that I'd vote for him at least, I guess, just because of the difference between the Pelicans not having him and having him. Almost that like him being injured is almost done him a favour in that way. Is that he's
Yeah,
basically they've transformed from being like a pretty bad team when he wasn't there to basically, well, since he's been playing, haven't they been, well, they're comfortably on like playoff pace, haven't they, since Zion's been fit.
yeah,
So he's basically already in his first like 20 games that he's played, he's already that level of like one of these elite superstars that teams try and sign to turn their franchise around. It's like just him being there has like just on his own has transformed a bad team to a playoff team. So I,
but then my argument would be John Morant
yeah,
is
if John Morant had
playing
been injured
alongside
and then done that, and maybe he would have done the same thing.
because I mean the Memphis Grizzlies were meant to be bad this year. They were meant to be
Yeah,
really, really bad, and Jaren Jackson's helped and Brandon Clark's helped, and they have got Jonas Valanciunas as well. They're not like a roster of mugs by any stretch, but he's like a rookie point guard potentially leading a young team to the playoffs is would usually be a complete shoo-in, and I think the quantity makes it. I'd vote Jar. I
yeah.
think I'd still vote Jar.
I think I still would at the moment. Yeah, but I think that I don't know with what happens for the rest of the regular season. I think there is a chance that I'd switch it. I think there is a decent chance if
Yeah, I think.
if the
I
Pelicans
think.
overtake the Grizzlies, basically.
Yeah, whatever happens from here on in, Ja Morant should get the Rookie of the Year. But it's just that thing about the recency bias, isn't it? I mean, if Zion has a storming sort of last 8 games this regular season, drags the Pelicans to the playoffs, that's like a more recent achievement than anything that Morant's done, in this 60, 70 games, whatever he played. I don't think it's quite 70, is it? And before the break, so yeah, it's one of the interesting narratives going back into the season, I think. If, especially, I mean, it may or may not happen. I mean, or New Orleans might just fall away. So
I think you're right. I think he's going to be one of the conversations getting jumped on after every time either of them play, and I think from the projected schedules because we don't have them yet, I think they're due to play each other again at least once. I might be
yeah,
wrong. But I think I'd probably stick with Jar. That race would have been really interesting if we had the extra games, if we had the rest of the regular season. And the same goes for MVP, I think. That was becoming a conversation again.
So do you think the MVP award is wrapped up then already? I think there's no chance that win.
Yeah, I think Giannis has got that.
I would vote for LeBron over Giannis.
I would be tempted to. I just can't see him getting enough of the votes from the writers. But
I just think what he's done at his age and how he's adapted his game. I mean, Isn't he leading the league in assists, or he's definitely leading the Lakers in assists?
I think he is still leading the league. Yeah.
Which he usually leads the league in points. I mean, to sort of adapt his game at the back end of his career, I think that's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he. It sounds strange to say that like someone like LeBron James can do stuff that's almost not acknowledged enough. But it does feel like that. If I've felt at times over the last few seasons that there's going to be like we look back on his career when he retires and like he really should have won more MVPs. I just find it hard to move away from Giannis because the Bucks for the majority of the season were just like unbeatable. And I think, but that was twisting again. That was the potential change, like we were just saying with Rookie of the Year. When he had that weekend when he beat Kawhi and the Clippers and then beat Giannis and the Bucks, and the Lakers are suddenly looking a bit closer to the Bucks in the standings. Giannis got hurt, the Bucks lost a few games, and it was like if the Lakers ended up finishing with a better record, I think I would have gone with LeBron. Basically, I made it a bit simplistic.
Yeah, I think there is. Well, you sort of mentioned there about him not having won that many MVP awards. I think there's a chance that, well, probably if he does win it, it'll be because of this. Getting votes almost from previous years that I'd sort of be tempted, and I have sympathy to that, really, is that he really probably deserves more MVPs than he has. I mean, how many does he have? Is it 2?
No, 4.
4, okay. That's quite
4,
a lot.
I think.
But I mean, still, there's a lot of seasons where he's been like second.
Yeah.
He's been like comfortably like the second best player in the league. So, like this year, it seemed again basically. I seems to have had a lot of years in his career where he's like that, or maybe there's another one as well. But there's like, there's a conversation between 2 or 3 players, and LeBron is in it like almost every year, but often doesn't win it. But yeah, like he could get votes because of that, as that he's not got that many chances to win them again, whereas Giannis may win many more after this. I mean, if he does win this one, we were talking about it the other day, weren't we? Actually, on the ESPN ranking, like greatest players of all time. I mean, Giannis is so ridiculously young, but it's like, even talking about that, I mean, he probably shouldn't be right up there yet, but it's like, if he wins this MVP, he's going to have back-to-back MVPs. And that is, there's a lot of players that people talk about as like, in the top like 20 or 30 players of all time that don't have back-to-back MVPs. I mean, most of them don't.
How old is Giannis Antetokounmpo? He's like 25, is he? Or is he older than that now?
He's like 27.
He is. Oh, he is 25.
25, still.
I thought he was a little bit older than that.
Blimey. Born in 1994. Giannis Antetokounmpo. He might win 1 million MVPs, roughly. I mean, I think... Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, it's difficult to argue against him getting the MVP this season, but for the sentimental vote, really, Arno, with
I think it's a fair vote to have, though, is because it seems easy to say this. It seems to get said most years. When Westbrook won it, it was always in any other year the second player would have won it, and when Harden won it, it's like he was just historic. Giannis has had a historic year, and LeBron seems to have been on the wrong side of that a few times. I think there could have easily been like momentum building up in the media. There was after that weekend for a slightly sentimental vote maybe, but I mean he's having like an MVP level season. It just happens to be that Giannis is an absolute monster on both ends of the court. On that note, what chance do we give of someone upsetting the Bucks in the Eastern Conference?
As in, like, anybody beating them, basically. Anybody not, like, them not getting to the NBA Finals.
Okay, yeah. Go with this then.
So,
what percentage chance do you give the Milwaukee Bucks of making the NBA Finals?
I
Um,
would go with 70%.
that's exactly the number I just had in my head. Weird enough. What I was about to say. Yeah, it's about 70. I think
I think the Raptors could beat them in the seven
yeah,
playoff series. I mean,
the Raptors are the
I'm a
only ones
Raptors
that I can
fan,
see.
so
Yeah, yeah, I
I'm
could
a
see
bit
the Raptors
biased.
beating them.
I could see this. I mean, I could see the 76ers beating them if they sort of clicked, which is unlikely. They're just sort of hot. They're just such a hot and cold team.
Yeah,
Yeah, the one
I
thing
think
I
the
would
Sixers have
say,
the best setup.
yeah, I would say the Sixers and the Raptors are the only two that have any chance. But the one thing about the Sixers, even though they've not been good in the regular season, they've basically been terrible on the road. I mean, that is basically why they've been bad. They've 29-2 at home, the Sixers. Um, so
They've beaten everyone at home. They've
yeah,
beaten absolutely everyone at home. So it's like they're good enough to beat
yeah,
the good teams, but then also on the road, they've lost to
yeah.
absolutely everyone.
And
I
what they
mean,
did last off season is they basically set up the team for the playoffs. They're basically built on defense now and defense against like physical players too. I mean, they're almost
I think they did. I think they did more than set up for the
they've
playoffs. I think
almost built
they
the
set up to
roster
beat
to try and
Giannis.
defend Giannis. So that's
Yeah,
the one thing that's going for them is that they've got like Horford, Embiid, and Simmons will all be on the court at the same time for like the whole game, and like you put any of those have got the physicality to go against Giannis to a degree at least. Um,
Just just going off
sorry.
purely off the Christmas Day game. Embiid absolutely dominated Giannis on
Yeah,
Christmas Day. I mean, I know,
that's what I was going to bring up.
yeah, I know. Like a seven, well, a 5-7 playoff game series. You're probably not going to get that. You're not going to get Embiid dominating for 4 games out of 7, are you? I don't think.
I
But
Who knows? Who knows with the Sixers? Anything could happen.
yeah,
They could they
exactly.
could get swept by anyone, and they could just lock teams down. My concern with the Sixers against the Bucks is if they're going to score any points at all. Like they're going to have to stop Giannis scoring any and win the game like 10-8 or something. Um, I, but they have the bodies to throw at him. And Toronto have obviously not having Kawhi. I mean, it doesn't really need stating how significant that is.
yeah,
But they have Siakam, they have Ibaka and Gasol, who are hopefully all going to be healthy.
yeah, who
I
are
think,
all very good defenders.
I believe so. Yeah,
and they've even got Anunoby, who they can just throw around and switch. And they've still got a defensive team that can do something against him. I look at the
Yeah,
other guys, and it's like, well, Bam Adebayo, maybe he can go against Giannis. I mean, he's a very, very good defensive player, um, but you need multiple
yeah,
guys to go against him
yeah. You
because he's
basically
just
need to basically double him with two big men, pretty much. I
and
think,
yeah,
or
and then
or
hope
have
they
that
miss some shot.
ability. Yeah, like
Um,
the Raptors could double him with Gasol and Ibaka, or Siakam and Ibaka, or something, and the Sixers could go Horford and Embiid doubling on him. Um,
and Boston are going to go like Daniel Tice. I mean,
yeah,
it's
I don't
just
think Boston
I,
have hope now.
it was my problem with their roster at the start of the season
Yeah,
was so as it stands, it's Philly, Boston the first round. Um, Boston would obviously be the favourites in that series because the Sixers have played basketball like they've never met each other before for a lot of this season. But they've like, what are you going to do against Embiid? At some point, there are going to be games in that series where they're just not going to be able to stop him, and they're going to have to
yeah,
try and double him. And maybe it works, or maybe he scores 50 points. Um, and then it's like, well, they get through them. At some point, they're going to have to face Giannis. I don't know. Tatum's a much improved defender, but he's still not going to be able to guard those guys. And so I'm concerned about them defensively. Um, I would like to see Toronto go on a run again, just because it would be a very cool
I mean,
story if they managed to go up against the Bucks in the
I mean
finals again,
they are
conference finals.
comfortably this well, not that comfortably, but they're 3 points out of the Celtics. They're comfortably the second best team in the Eastern Conference, and actually, in fact, have the third best record across both conferences. So it's like because since they
we
lost Kawhi, basically people assumed they weren't going to be good. I think there's and I don't. What did they